air conditioning noise. Oh, we're live? You can give me a countdown, Cambry. All right, how are you doing? Welcome. I'm rolling my sleeves up because I'm getting to work.
And I'm on my phone because I'm fixing the air conditioner in here. Isn't it amazing that we fix the AC now by apps on our phone instead of having to holler at one of our kids to go over there and turn the dial down or something now?
I'm really rolling my sleeves up because I'm turning the air conditioner on my arms. So we're going with that. Good to see you this morning. So glad that you're with us today. And, for those of you that are jumping on, I know the live streams, we usually start them about 10 minutes early. It says the coming soon. That's really to help people, have time so they can see the beginning of when things are happening. We try to get these things started right at 10. But if your Facebook gives you a warning saying, hey, we're starting something, that's just to give people a chance to get online and get ready to go. It's technology stuff. We just have to do it. All right.
That's right. And it was my fault we're on late because I was down in my office doing some work for Senior Sunday, which is coming up this coming Sunday. This Sunday.
All right.
Sunday. We're going to do Senior Sunday. And I was down there doing some work and just lost track of time. So
yeah, we had a conversation today. EOGs, end of grades.
End of grade testing is going on now. And I'm a parent of one of those kids who's doing it for the very first time, so I'm a little nervous.
I'm a parent of a kid who's exempt from her files, and so she's done. So it's a little bit different when they get into high school. So, but yeah, so that's all you kids out there doing those EOGs. We're praying for you. We're lifting you up.
Yep.
If you need a tutor, Philip knows. You can come by.
I know some tutors.
But by all means, give us a call. Spiritual advice. School advice, we're good with all that stuff.
We can figure it out, and I think Pastor Barnes is, if it's above his pay grade, you're well enough to put it along to somebody else.
I can make it up.
Yeah, make it up as we go along.
That's right. We'll do it, but we definitely can work on that. But no, I'm just excited to get to talk to you. I'm excited about Senior Sunday. It's a great time to celebrate with the kids that are graduating. It's been a little different couple of Sundays because it really hasn't been celebrating Sundays. We've had a couple of I want to say deeper sermons that we're dealing with grief.
Heavier.
Heavier.
Yeah.
They're all deep. You talk about joy and it's deep, but you're right. But a heavier subject, dealing with grief, and Philip and I were talking, the very first week that I was here, and we said, what are some things we need to deal with? And one of the things, and I have people every Sunday, the last several Sundays, saying, as a church, we've lost, and they give me a number of how many people that we've lost at the church, through deaths over COVID over the last year, and not just that, just the emotional losses and other things, and you hear people talking about it. It's top of their list, and on a normal day, a normal year, we process our grief together. Right. We do it together. And this year, it's been so rough because people have been left in their homes. And so, like, if you were reading the description of this video, what it was talking about is some of us, for the very first time, are getting out and publicly dealing with our grief for the first time. And that can be difficult.
It's the onset of the grief maybe occurred 12 months ago, but now that we're having the opportunity to come back, that grief has been delayed, and it's almost like ripping the bandage off again and restarting the grief process all over. So.
Yeah, because I get it, and we want you to know that we feel your pain. I know some of you have tried to process through it, and so maybe you're getting to a good place, and then you see somebody you haven't seen in 9 months,
right.
And they're like, well, how is so-and-so, or how are you doing? And like you said, you got to go back through all of that story all over again, and it pulls you back in, and it can be disheartening for a lot of people.
Right.
And we don't like to talk about that. I mean, we like to be in a church service where a pastor says, Jesus lives, and we're all excited about that's going to end up on the post, isn't it? But we like to be in those services where everything is exciting and moving, and we're joyful and we're pumped up. And so there's a lot of times that we avoid in polite conversation and church conversations. We avoid some of those harder topics.
I've been reading a book recently called It's Personal, and there's a chapter in that book talking about being shallow. And, when we're shallow, we don't really want to delve into this grief issue. When somebody says, how are you doing? And we typically say, I'm good. And it's not the truth. And I think there's a song out now. Matthew West sings this song, Truth Be Told. And it's like, we put on a great face, and we put on the shine, and really underneath we're just cracking and coming apart. And I think that's where a lot of people are during this time. And I see it some joy in some people again as we're about to move about and that sort of thing. And I think maybe that's part of that grief process of coming through that and expressing it.
Yeah, and I think there is something to we share each other's joy. You know, when I was a teenager, or my youth minister, when we prayed, we would all hold hands at the end and we would pray. You know, not COVID safe, but we survived. But we would hold hands and one of the things that she would talk about that was that there's something intimate and personal, and so if we're coming to the throne of God and we're near each other, we're sharing, physically sharing a burden, and we're spiritually sharing it. And I think, like you said, that joy, now that people are able to come and meet with people that can bear that burden, and they share their joy, and I think that's a valuable thing for us.
It's fun to hold hands and pray and stuff like that. I don't know if I've told you about this, but the youth here, when we break out and we're leaving our gatherings and stuff, we hold thumbs. Like, we all gather and hold each other's thumbs like that in a big circle. That's how we pray it out when we leave here at our youth gatherings. So.
That's good, because there's a lot of spirituality, and that's where the soul resides. So, no, that's great. I love that. That's great. So, we were talking, and I didn't want to get super heavy. I mean, we will get into heavy things today, but was thinking, a lot of us have lost people, not just this last year, but over our lifetimes. And somebody, they always ask that question. You see somebody posting on Facebook or in a magazine somewhere, if you could have dinner with somebody past or present, and in our context, talking about somebody that's passed on before, who would you want to have that meal with? Who is that one person? So that's our Facebook question. And so I really want you to post down there, maybe somebody that you would think about. I mean, I've talked about my friend Darren. Clearly, I'd love to have another meal with him and be able to share with him, hey, look what God's done as a result of what you've done. But I think for me, I would love to have a meal with my grandfather, Lowell Dennis Barnes, my dad's dad. He was a minister, clearly had a huge influence in my dad's life, but he passed away when I was like in elementary school. And to have an opportunity to talk to him and to see him. When I was in 8th grade, shortly after he passed away, 7th grade, I did a book report on him. We had to do a biography on somebody, and people are doing, George Washington and Martin Luther King, and I did my granddad, and my grandmother sent me a bunch of his letters and notes, and I got a chance to read those and get to know some things about him. And for him to know that I had become a minister, I think that would have been a neat thing to be able to share with him and talk with him about. So.
That's good. I don't know if I can come up with one. I can think of 2 people off the top of my head. If I had to choose one of the dough, I don't know what I would do. But my grandfather, my dad's dad, I never had a chance to know him. He passed away when my dad was 16.
Wow.
And so I never had a chance to know. He was commonly referred to around my hometown as Doodlem. But Conrad Livingston Brown. Doodlem, yeah.
Why are none of your kids called that now?
Because I have a wife that's the kind of the gatekeeper on that and wouldn't have allowed that. So actually, when Jackson was born, I floated Livingston as possibly a middle name, but that didn't make the cut. If it was a girl, I floated Tallulah, and that didn't make the cut either.
Imagine.
So
yep. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack your story.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to turn the tea over either. But no, my grandfather on my dad's side, Doodlem, never had a chance to meet him or know him, and quite honestly have not heard many stories about him. He was a businessman in our hometown. He ran a store. He ran an old beer joint in my hometown. So if you ever come to my house and you have chili, that's the chili that I fixed that was served on the hot dogs in those places.
All right.
So that's about my only connection. My grandmother, though, was the cook, and she's the reason behind that chili. But I never had a chance to know my grandfather. And the other one would be my great-grandfather on my mom's side. I never had a chance to meet him. He went in the hospital just a few days after I was born, and I was born in February, and he passed away in April. So I don't have a recollection of him. Yeah. And so those 2 are people that I would like to actually sit down and probably have more than one meal that I've never had the opportunity to do. So I don't know if we could get it all done in one meal. But those, I'm sorry, indulge me with 2, but
that's okay.
And not
that's
just
great.
one.
That's great. I think that's how most of us are. And it gives you confidence when you think about our hope of salvation. You read that Hebrews passage that says we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, and to think that in part of that story, in Hebrews, they're telling us about Moses and Abraham and all these saints in the past. But for me to think about my grandfather being one of those witnesses that's cheering me on and rooting me on, it's a comfort to know that there is a healing in that process.
Right.
That one day we will get to sit down at the great banquet feast and be able to have that meal with
To
them.
do that, yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah.
And I know my grandfather was on my dad's side. He was a man of faith. He was a businessman, so he operated a store and these other businesses. But he always had his businesses closed on Sunday so they could attend church, and even their kids had to get married on Sunday because he wouldn't take any other time off.
Really?
Because he was a businessman. He wanted to do the business, and so. But Sunday was a day. He was kind of like, I guess he was the precursor to Chick-fil-A.
Kanye West.
Yeah. Sunday.
That's for Cambry. She's behind the camera. I know she's singing that. But
Sunday.
Chick-fil-A and Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, they were they closed on Sunday, and that's how he ran his business. He was
That's
closed
great.
on Sunday for that purpose.
Everything was back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, do you remember that? I mean, I remember the first time that, we had been in small rural churches because we would live in different places on the Air Force Base, and so most of our churches were very traditional churches, and that's how I lived. When we moved to Texas, and we went to a really large church, and it was much more happening church, and nowadays all the churches seem like they're happening churches, but that was the first one I'd ever been in. Like, I'm wearing a tie and slacks to church, and they're all wearing jeans and t-shirts, and I'm like, they're wearing jeans and t-shirts to church, but that first time where the youth group like came up, was like, hey Philip, we're going out bowling after church, Sunday night church. We're going out bowling. You want to come? I'm like, I don't know about that.
I can
My
do
dad.
that.
My dad's like, we don't bowl on Sunday, boy. And I'm like, all right, we're not bowling on Sunday. And I mean, that was it. I mean, I remember Pizza Hut was like the only restaurant that was open, and so if we ate somewhere after church, it was always, we went to the Pizza Hut with all the people in the church.
Right.
We were all there. The whole church went to Pizza Hut, and I remember those days. That was a different day, and maybe we should go back to some of that stuff. I mean, your malls used to not be open.
Right.
I mean,
Well, I've often said this: if Christians want to, if we want to impact culture, if we want to see a return to some of those kind of values, then we ought not to participate in business on those days and that sort of thing. I've said the same thing. If we don't want to see alcohol sales, then Christians ought not to buy alcohol. If we don't have a pornography problem, Christians ought not to take part in pornography and be a part of that. And we're really taking
now you're
this
stepping
off.
on toes. And church, you're gonna hate to hear this, but one of these days we're gonna do a pornography Sunday, because it is one of the biggest problems in a church that nobody talks about it. And so one of these days it'll make you uncomfortable, but that's okay. The truth is uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's one of those things, when we ask how we're doing, we smile and say we're doing fine, but there's those things underneath that are causing the cracks and the crumbling of things, of our foundation, and pornography is one of those things.
Well, this Sunday, we're going to be talking about another one of those things. We're going to be talking about kind of a bevy, and probably doing too much at one time, but we're going to be talking about depression, anxiety disorders, suicide tendencies, things like that. And that's another thing that gets swept under a lot of people's radars. We don't like to admit that we've got mental struggles on something. Sometimes we think that a mental struggle means a mental deficiency. And like what we talked about this Sunday, that grief, if you're grieving somebody too much, that you're sinning. And it's not. Mental struggles is not a sin.
Right.
It's something that can be dealt with, can be handled. But so often the church treats it as a pariah that we don't, as a church, aid in the healing process. Sometimes we hurt.
We hurt, and I'm ashamed to say this, but a lot of times churches would rather just push that to the side and sweep it under the rug and not deal with it, when this is the place that should be dealing with it and should be extending those arms of grace and those words of mercy and bringing those people and restoring those people. And this should be a place of restoration and grace, and not a place of shame and putting it to the side.
Yeah. And we've got to really learn to change our way of looking at that. Jesus spent so much time with the sinners. One of his common complaints was, I didn't come to save the righteous. And if we are followers of Christ, then that should be a part of our mission as well, that we're okay with getting our hands a little dirty. And like I said, some of those mental issues people are dealing with, they're not sin issues.
No.
They're actual mental problems that can be dealt with and handled, and some of them will lead to sinful actions, attempting suicide and other things that go along with that depression. They lead to sinful actions, they lead to self-destructive actions, and maybe actions that are destructive to others. They get to that point, but that's why it's so important as a church for us to be able to have an open dialogue about it.
Right. And I'll say this, just because we're pastors, and I think some people put pastors on some sort of pedestal that we don't deserve to be on, but we struggle with mental issues and anxiety issues and depression issues a lot. And quite honestly, I'll be quite honest, the first one to tell you that I put on the smile before and say, yeah, everything is good. And you can probably hear that tone in my voice that it probably wasn't good. And so yeah, we ask as we deal with helping people through anxiety and depression, that you pray for us as well, because there are pastors, and coming out of COVID, I believe this to be the fact, there are going to be many pastors that are going to be walking away from their ministries because they are depressed and they are suffering from anxiety.
I've counseled pastors and ministers are going through it. It's tough.
It's a tough time, and I think there's going to be a glut of pulpits that are going to be open as we open up from this, because they're just going to say, I'm tired, I'm done, and I'm getting away from this. And so it's a pervasive issue. Nobody is immune to anxiety, depression, mental struggles, or anything like that. And it's something that we need to face, and we need to be more open about it and more loving and caring about it.
I mentioned this morning, if you watch Louisville Morning, if you're not watching that, I do that usually right before 8 o'clock, so I try to get that done by 8 o'clock. So it's somewhere around 7:30, 7:45, and it's not as long as what we do here. But today what I talked about was that idea. It can be intimidating if you're a person that's struggling with something and you walk in the back of our church. We have a lot of great people in this church. I mean, just a lot of great people in this church, and they're put together, and they've made it successfully through their lives. And I mean, as we get into our 70s and 80s, and we're solid and we're firm in what we believe, and that's how life should be. By the time you get to your 70s and 80s, you should have, been able to figure out how to manage your things of life. And so, what I say, you own a car, you own a house, you're able to do those sort of things. And people can walk in and see that and say, well, this church is not for me. I'm broken. Well, look at all these people they're put together. And I know there was a generation where, like you're saying, we were actually encouraged not to share those times. But I know for a fact that so many of you had your struggles in your 20s and your 30s, and some even later than that. You've had your struggles before. And this is the time for you to be able to share that wisdom that you have and be able to pass it on to a new generation. And so just because it looks like somebody has it together doesn't mean they didn't struggle, for years and years and years to get to where they are. And wouldn't you rather, if you were a person struggling emotionally, go to a person that actually made it to the other side and say, how'd you do it?
Right.
And then have them, the verse that we talked about this morning, it was talking about a shepherd watching his sheep. The idea that the shepherd that knows what's going on can look and identify, say, I see that problem, and I know how to help you avoid that pitfall. I know how to help you avoid that difficulty that you're coming into. And I think that's I think that's something that's an underutilized. We don't realize how valuable that is, because we were told when we were younger, buck it up, be a man.
Stiff upper lip.
Yeah. Instead of now we realize, okay, it's okay, be a man. Yeah, you do need to have some personal character to make it through some of these things, but at the same time, be vulnerable every once in a while and help somebody know, hey, I did fight through it, but it was a fight, and I won, and you can win.
Yeah.
And I want that.
And sometimes I think it's a shame when we have been through pains and struggles and that sort of thing, and we see other people going through very similar situations, and we are not speaking into their life and helping them. I don't think God wants us to go through our struggles and pains just to not ever use the wisdom and the value that we got out of that. He wants us to speak truth and to speak and to live in. I like that term, live in. He wants us to live into other people who have gone through similar things and help others through that. I think that's a part of why we go through things, is so when the generations are coming along behind us, we can live into them and and help them find their purpose and find their way. I think it's a waste if you have been through life and you've been through some junk and you're not living into other people. That's a waste of that pain that you went through to not help people through theirs.
Hey, you've accumulated all that wisdom, and why just hold on to it?
Right.
You've got it. Don't let it go bad. I mean, we've all done that. Something in the refrigerator, and you look at it as like, oh, it expires tomorrow, and so you just start chugging the jug of milk. You probably don't need to drink that whole jug of milk, but you're like,
I don't want to go to waste.
it goes bad tomorrow. I don't want to waste it. So why don't we do that with our wisdom and stuff? Look at it as like, hey, if I don't use it now, I can't pass it on to my kids unless I use it now. So I think that's great. That's a great thing to encourage people. And I love the idea now that we're able to. It's easier to do that together. It's hard to do that over the computer. It's hard to do that, and it's easier to get together. And the church, we really are, not just opening up more in our services. So we have a place where you can completely unmasked, sit right next to somebody. And we've got a place where if you like the old way because you're still being extra careful, we got a place for both of you. No shame in it. Either side you want to be in, you're fine.
We want you to feel comfortable wherever you want to be.
But it means that we're getting to the place where other things are starting to happen. Right. And so we're going to be passing out like a calendar of what's going to be happening in June, and there's stuff on it.
Yeah.
There's stuff on the calendar in June. We're going to do some Sunday school work days. So if you're missing Sunday school, I mean, right now there's probably some cobwebs in some corners of some rooms and stuff. Not in a bad way, but you get the ladybugs that like all crawl up in the lights and stuff, and that just happens. And since we haven't been in a while, we haven't gone through. So we're going to do some Sunday school cleaning. I'm not calling it spring cleaning. I'm calling it Sunday school cleaning. You want your Sunday school? Come clean your Sunday school class up. We're going to do some cleaning up, getting that done. So we've got 2 of those dates that we've got on the calendar. We're going to be doing some Sunday school training. So if you're a teacher or you're just a leader in your Sunday school class, if you help do the books and stuff and you want to come, we're going to have that time for you to come. We're going to do some Sunday school training. We've got a men's gathering together. Right. Ken Prevette has given us permission to use his plate. He's got not his plate, but his place. He's got an outdoor wood fire grill that we're gonna throw meat on, and we're gonna be men.
Yeah, we're gonna build a fire and we're gonna grill meat.
That's
and
right.
We're gonna eat that meat and we're gonna grunt and talk and
tall tales, all that sort of stuff. It'll be great. We're gonna see if we can't get somebody out there to come and speak to the men and give us a little encouragement. And here's my challenge. All right, the women did this already. Like they're a month ahead of us.
They are.
They had 30 women.
We can do that. We can beat that.
We can get more than 30 men out there. I mean, Ken wants to see you. All right, we got.
And this is just not a men event. Grandkids, your children, boys. I'll be bringing my boys with me, so they're going to count. They're not going to be a half.
Yeah.
They're going to count as a whole. So they're part of the count. So they're going to be young children out there as well. So this is going to be a thing for all guys. Let's just a guys thing.
Yeah. Anybody is. The women, they had people from 7 years old to like 90 years old. So we want to see if we can get a bigger range than that. So it'll be great. So that's coming up. Youth camp is coming up in June.
June 29th through July 2nd, Crossroads Youth Camp. You can get more information here at the church. Give me a call here at the church, or see me on Wednesday or Sunday when we're here during our normal gathering times, and we can get the information to you. So, and look forward to doing that, and look forward to taking some students up there and being a part of this. If you're watching this and you have children or grandchildren, we're looking at 6th grade through 12th grade being able to go to this camp. It's an adventure camp, so there'll be some zip lining and some swimming, and they'll be building fires there. But there's the most important thing is they're going to be opening God's Word and studying His Word and how it applies to our lives today, and some great worship and that sort of thing. So yes, Crossroads Youth Camp, June 29th through July 2nd.
Yeah, exciting stuff. We're putting together. We're working on it. It'll be on the calendar. We're ready. Maybe a kids event where we can just get together, gather at the park for a little bit, eat some popsicles, and play some games together. And so things are starting to move. And the women are actually going to have another meeting because they're doing it once a month. And so they're going to try to up their 30 because their second meeting will be before our men's thing. So they're going to try to up their no. It might be right before. The men will do it the weekend before. So we got to set the bar high so the women have to try.
We can do this, guys. We can do it.
And then we really are looking at maybe a late June, early July startup of Sunday school classes. It may not look exactly like it did before because, once again, we got to get all the teachers ready. We got to get people in place and find out where people are comfortable. And we still haven't officially settled on, where everything's going to be, but we'll let you know. I mean, we're getting that on the calendar, and we just have to go through a little more hoops to get that. But a lot of stuff happening.
Right, and just keep your eyes and ears open for the information that's going to be coming about that, because there will be some adjustments to our schedule. For the last, 15 months or so, we've been gathering online and then in person at 9:30 in the morning, and we're still working out the details on our gathering time and how our gatherings will be in those Sunday school rooms. So it's a great time to be a part of Louisville Baptist Church, and if you run into somebody who is looking for a church, I think this is a great time to come along and be a part of this almost a new birth of things that are happening here as we launch. I keep using that word launch instead of relaunch because I think we're doing new, and we're about being new and doing new, and so it's like we're launching into something new here.
We're going to start having the nursery provided during our worship services. We're really getting close to getting that going, and as you've seen, we had some people mention, hey, we heard some baby noises in church Sunday, and that's great. We love hearing kids' noises. I mean, and any of you that have kids that are out there, I want you to know that I'm 100% all about kids making noise in church, because that tells me that they're in church, all right? It's better than anywhere else they could be is in church, but we are working on getting that program back up and running. It's part of our, when we do our spring cleaning, we got to clean out the kids' places because we got to make sure that place is the safest place in the church, and so we're going to get all that up and running. And so those of you that have kids and grandkids, there's going to be a place for you to come. Let us know. The more demand that we keep seeing, the more we're going to be able to fill that stuff up with volunteers, because we've got volunteers that are ready. It's just we want to make sure that when we stick them in there that they've got stuff ready to go. And so we're going to keep you up to date on where that stuff is going. Share that. We're going to start handing you pieces of paper on Sunday. All right, you're no longer getting shot with the temperature thing, and I think we're going to try to straighten up that lobby area so it's a little easier to get around. But instead of shooting you with the temperature gun, we're going to start handing you out bulletin-ish sort of things. I mean, we may not have all of the stuff from a bulletin on it, but we are going to start pushing out that information with the bulletin. Right. So want to encourage you to be able to use that so you can keep up to date, so we make sure we know when times and places and things are.
Right. I'm looking forward to the furthering, opening, and widening of things, and it's a great time. It's a great time. It's a great time to be a part of Louisville Baptist Church as we move and we launch into some new things and get that engine humming again.
It's like a good mystery for me. I mean, all I've known is the post-COVID stuff. Right. That's all I know. So every time something happens, I'm like, well, praise Jesus. Let's see what's going on next.
Yeah, for his first 6 or 7 weeks, this is all he knew of people was this much right here, and now he's figuring out that how good looking we are here at Louisville Baptist Church.
That's right. That's right. So it's been a real encouragement. So we just want to encourage you. Wednesday nights is still going strong. We're doing love God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength, and your neighbor as yourself. 5 things. We're doing 2 weeks on each one right now. Then we're going to come back and we're going to do a deeper dive into each one. So we're on the second part of Love God with all of your soul. So we did trust last week. We're doing obey this week. How our obedience to the commands of God is a part of the way we show our devotion to Him, giving our all in our obedience to His commands. And so it's going to be a good Wednesday night to be here.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, I think I keep looking over here to see if there's new stuff that's going on, but a lot of stuff going on. I know that was a lot of information we threw at you. I did post in the link on this thing right below last week's Sweet Tea with the Pastor that we put on YouTube. Now, for some of you that don't know the differences between the YouTubes and the Facebooks, I get it. But there is a slight difference, and actually probably more of your friends have access to YouTube because it's automatically on your TV. It's automatically on your cell phone and things like that. So you might have better luck getting some of your friends to find it on YouTube, but it's a little hard. YouTube doesn't give you a nice, neat Louisville Baptist .YouTube or whatever. There is a way to do that. We have to get 100 people that will subscribe to our YouTube channel. So if we get 100 people, YouTube will give us our own name. So we can put it on the business card, we can put it on places. But right now it's like a www.xy/ZQ. It's weird.
A lot of
looking.
numbers and letters.
But it's that blue link, and you can click it. And so the easiest thing to do, if you click it, it'll take you directly to YouTube, and then you'll see the picture of the church, and right next to it, it'll say subscribe, and you can just click that subscribe button, and then from now on, whenever you go to YouTube, you can just go to the bottom where it says subscriptions, and Louisville will pop up on it. So that's the easiest way to get to that. And so I put last week so it wouldn't look like we're doing the same thing twice. You could go check last week's out on YouTube, click the subscribe. If you really want to be bold, there's a little bell next to it. If you click that bell that says all, what it'll actually do is whenever we go post a video on YouTube, it will ring that bell and your phone will just say, ring, ring, Louisville Baptist just posted another video. I know Philip was telling the crew that he was teaching the other night. We'll start putting up, like, if we have a teaching video, like something that's a good teaching video up on YouTube, ring, ring, you might be able to watch it.
Right.
Safety videos, I know that we've been talking with the safety team, so as we start opening up the church again, we have to get back onto making sure that people are safe and secure, that nobody comes in and does something that we would deem appropriate at church. And so those safety teams, when we find other churches that are posting videos, here's how to keep your people safe, we might throw those up there. And then all the stuff we do, the Louisville Mornings, the this time the women are going to start broadcasting some of their stuff that they're doing. There's going to be just a lot of content that we put up there that you can like and share, and don't feel like you have to watch all of it. Any of you that get online, there's more stuff online than any human being could watch in a million lifetimes. But we put it up there because we know that some of it is targeted for you. So find what's targeted for you and get involved and watch that.
If you're having trouble getting to the link or anything like that, just email or text us, and we can shoot that to you right there. And you just have to get it on your device there, and push it there.
And I honestly am always looking for excuses to come visit people. And so if it's just something, if I haven't been in your house, just say, hey, Pastor, come on by and show me how we can do it. And I'll come by your house. I'll set it up for you, and we'll get it ready to go. And that'll give us a chance to chat and a chance to get you moving on that.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
Well,
maybe we'll come back in and we'll do a demonstration of how to set that up, because we got a TV we can roll in here and actually demonstrate how you bring it up on your TV. If that'll be cool, you think maybe?
We can do. Yeah, we'll pick a time. Maybe it won't be a sweet tea, but it'll be a special, and we'll have the little come up. It'll be we will do some of that and help you get it set up. We'll even probably do a video of it that you can share with people.
And we'll probably do something really dumb and stupid and put a how to use YouTube on YouTube. Just it's not that very intuitive to do something like that, but that's
the way the world works. But we could text you the link and you can watch it, and then as you're watching it, go, oh, I see how it works. So we can do it. All right. Well, we love you guys so much, and I hope you have a great day.
Great. Have a good day. Enjoy this nice, hot, warm weather. We're heading into summer and looking forward to that. Don't forget about all Bible study on Wednesday nights.
All right. We will see you guys around. God bless you all.
Take care.
All right. Bye.